Welcome to the exploration of consciousness.
When I was young, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now if I change my mind, open up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down, and I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me? When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now if I change my mind, open up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down, and I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me, help me, help me.
Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to the Exploration of Consciousness, the TEC podcast. I'm your host, Matt Presti, here at the Homesteading Life Conference Spring Festival 2024 in Vandalia, Missouri. I'm going to be going over some of these exhibits here with the camera, interviewing some of the presenters and attendees, and just sharing what Lori and I are up to this weekend here in beautiful Vandalia, Missouri. It's pretty flat in this area of the state. So lots to share with you guys, a lot of interesting things happening. And just the core of this is homesteading and living off grid, as one would say. Just a way to garner knowledge and information about the methods and processes in which one can become independent when it comes to living. And this is a great conference to share some of that stuff with you guys. So figure you'll enjoy this, and as we are, and looking forward to more to come. Lots of edits to make, but it's going to be a great little presentation, I think, and hopefully you'll garner something out of it. Please share this video, like and subscribe, and check out my work at mattpresti.com. Thanks.
I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, oh yeah. She said her loving early in the morning. Just for me. Oh, oh yeah. She said her loving early in the morning. Just for me. Oh yeah. She said her loving just for me. Well, she loves me so tenderly. I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, oh yeah. Well, I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, oh yeah. Well, I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh yeah. Well, she's my baby. Don't you understand? Well, I love her, man. I got a woman way across town. She's good to me. Oh, oh yeah. Don't you know she's alright? Alright, alright. I got a woman way over town. She's good to me. Oh. I just learned that song yesterday. Still needs a little more practice, but.
So tell us, how did you get into homesteading, and how did you and Doug come to start the show on YouTube?
Well, that was not even planned, having our YouTube channel, but basically just about 20 years ago we just started doing the prepping, survival stuff, you know, knowing that the world is kind of going crazy, and then I was having health issues and we wanted to know where our food was coming from, get the toxins out of our life. So we decided, you know, we wanted to just sell everything and go find some property and then just kind of grow our own food, raise our own animals, to know where everything's going, making sure when we built our home, we'd have a log cabin that we had, was made from wood, all natural fibers, everything, like animal skins, everything I have. Now I've gotten to the point where like all my stuff is like local pottery or handmade spoons, stuff like that. So that's what, we try to strive for. And then through that time, the nature healed us by being outside in nature now. We weren't just working 9 to 5, going here, going there, being inside all the time. We're getting plenty of sunlight, barefoot grounding. We were working in nature. We were growing our own food, raising our own animals, getting the stress out of our lives. And it really healed myself, made Doug healthier. We have more energy now than we've had in our whole entire lives, feeling better than we've ever felt in our whole entire lives. So it was just like a whole lifestyle, a whole everything. And then knowing that you can take care of yourself, since we live off grid, that you can take care of yourself, not having to worry about anyone. We always say we can lock the gate and not have to worry about anything. We have our own water because we have rainwater catchment, we have composting toilet, we have, everything that we would need right there. So we're like our garbage man, our sewer man, our electric man, our water man. We do it all. And so it's very rewarding and empowering to know that we can do it. And so it was sort of like one of those things, but shortly, it was probably maybe like 4 years after we moved off grid, someone had said, you should document some of the stuff you're doing. The new tube was kind of new at that time. So Doug started doing it, and then now look at it. So there's a big movement.
Yeah. So you expected, I think, admissions lady, your friend, who you're personal trainers together with, can't recall her name, but she said they thought 500-ish, but now you're looking at possibly 2,000 people attending this event.
No, this is 2,000.
Yeah.
Our other one we do is
Correct.
less. Yeah.
So, but 2,000.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So you're really helping a lot of people to take a look at the alternative life of homesteading and off-grid living.
Yeah.
What would you give advice? What is your best advice for someone that's on the fence about, I don't know if I want to do this, it's too much work, what can you get?
Well, you gotta know if it's gonna be too much work. So if it's too much work, then maybe you don't want to get into it. But if you think you want to do it, we're like jump in with both feet, because the only way you're going to know, and if you fail, then you fail. And if you want to try again, you can try again. And if you want to go back, go back. I mean, you know what I mean? How are you going to know? Then you're going to regret that for the rest of your life. So Doug and I we don't think about stuff, we just do it. So it's just kind of one of those things.
People that are capable of the most production-wise don't wonder how they're going to do it. They just go.
You just got to do it. Yeah. You just jump right in. And that's how we've always been in everything we've done. So,
that's great.
Yeah.
What are your plans for the future?
That's a great
conferences,
question.
more?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we're going to do a lot more. We'll do conferences. We want to plan on having 3 a year.
3 a year.
Yeah, because the thing is just to teach and learn and get all the information out there for everyone. I mean, I think it's huge.
Yeah.
So
You're doing a great service.
Thanks.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. I know you're busy. No host who puts an event on of this magnitude has time to spare. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. You keep up the good work too.
All right.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Leslie Davidson, and I'm here at Doug and Stacy's Off the Grid Homesteading Conference.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you are in charge of admissions.
I'm in charge of admissions, yes.
First question, how many people roughly would you estimate are attending this event?
2,000, yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. From all parts of the country, yeah.
What's the furthest of the people that you've checked in?
That's a good question.
International people, folks
I
attending?
don't think I've had any international, but California,
Okay.
New Jersey, Montana, Alabama, yeah, all over the states.
Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
We just met a couple from Arkansas.
Okay, Arkansas.
And of course, Curtis Stone, who's speaking, he's down from
Oh, yeah.
British Columbia, I believe.
Okay, so he would probably he would be the furthest away.
Okay.
British, BC.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think
I didn't
so.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would be. Yeah. So he's a presenter. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And so how long have you known Doug and Stacy?
I really have known Stacy probably 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neighbors?
No, she and I worked together.
Oh,
We
okay.
were personal trainers together.
Oh, very
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. So any advice for people who want to get into homesteading? What can they do to get motivated?
I think the first thing to do would actually be follow Doug and Stacy, because they have all the answers. And here's the thing, I've known Doug and Stacy from when they first started to where they are now. And they went through a lot of trials and tribulations, so to speak. You know, summers that were very hot, it ruined their crops. And that's the great thing about Doug and Stacy. They've kind of gone through a lot of the missteps. So I would absolutely follow them and they have all sorts of, and just you don't have to do everything all at once, but get your feet wet, and they have lots of good advice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Doug and Stacy have decades of trial and error wisdom, so
Right.
definitely give them a
Yes.
follow. I'll be interviewing them shortly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks a bunch.
Okay, you're welcome.
I'm Tommy, and this is my wife Jessica.
What brought you here?
We're looking to move out and start a homestead within the next few years.
Okay, you from Missouri? Or?
No, we're from Kansas.
Okay. What got you interested in homesteading?
Just moving out and becoming more self-reliant, getting out of town and getting back to more of a rural life that we would like to get into.
Are you currently in an urban
Yeah,
environment?
we live on the outside of town.
Okay.
Kind
We
of
would
slowly
also-
been working our way out from town.
Right. Any animals currently? Or
Yeah, we have a flock of chickens and dogs. We did turkeys also last year. Probably do them again next year.
What inspired you guys to drive all the way here?
Well, can I?
Yep, go ahead.
I mean, I'm just trying to reclaim some wisdom that hasn't been passed down to my family so that we can then in turn give that to our children and set them up for success in the future. That is the foundation of my drive. So, yeah.
Cool. You got kids currently?
We're 4.
Okay. How old?
Go
Was
ahead.
it
Can you do
3,
it?
5, 8, and 10?
right.
Somewhere around there.
Close enough.
Close enough, yeah.
They help out with chores and things already?
Yes.
Getting them into it?
Oh yeah, our oldest daughter does really good at managing the chickens, helping out with things like that. This year we had our oldest son wanted to help out with turkeys, but he didn't like that. So, but he still watched and was in on a little bit of it. So next year he'll probably be more involved.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you want to give advice to people who are hesitant about getting started? What can help them to get started in doing a homestead operation or learning to be self-sufficient?
We just started small, things that we could do at home that would
Yeah.
benefit us later when we did move out on the property. So we started with chickens, she started canning, we increased the size of our garden, started changing the things that we were growing to be more self-sufficient, stop going to the store as much, that way we know where we got everything.
Start where you're at, but start now.
Yeah, that's our thing, start now.
And as a mom of 4, for the moms out there who are just totally overwhelmed with kids as it is already, and husbands that probably don't help enough to take care, what can you give them as far as your best advice for being brave and going for the homesteading lifestyle?
Know your Lord and Savior because He provides for all of our needs according to His riches and glory. So He's got a plan for each one of us. Just stay the course, stay strong, keep your faith, and just keep trucking on. You'll get there.
The easier you keep your kids, less problems you have with them.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I
Thank
hope
you, sir.
Find a restroom soon.
Have a good one.
You'll be so lonely, baby. You'll be lonely. You'll be so lonely you could die. Well, I know it's always crowded, and you still can find some room. But broken-hearted loving is too kind and a burden. So you'll be so lonely, baby. You'll be
All right. Well, Curtis Stone, how you doing, brother?
Good, brother.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, man.
Last time we saw each other was Acapulco, Mexico. I always want to say New Mexico for some damn reason. But
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in the actual
Mexico.
Mexico. How did you get into farming, bro?
I always wanted to be a farmer. So I always wanted to live off the land in some way. Since, my dad told me a long time ago about the Federal Reserve and money printing and all that, and even before that, it always bothered me that we just had to pay rent to live. And so I think I was always compelled to be a farmer so that I could at least work for myself and get the fruits of my labor.
Yeah.
That was it. And then I got into it because I wanted to live off the land but didn't have a means to do so, as in I didn't have money to buy land.
Right.
So I got into the whole urban farming thing back then, which is, I guess, 15 years ago now, because it was what was available to me. And I heard about some other guys doing it, farming without land they didn't own, and I thought, well, I'll just try this and see how it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
So what'd you start out with land-wise?
I started out with a front and backyard of a home that I was renting.
There you go.
And there was a side lot on it as well that was a vacant lot, and the owners who I rented the house from let me also farm that. So I kind of started with this half-acre lot, but the farm wasn't half-acre. It was a lot smaller because there's a lot of buildings and stuff. But yeah, that's where I started, was that.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So where are you at now? What are you working in terms of acreage? And if you guys catch Curtis Stone's work on YouTube and his Twitter channel, which I'll have you share your links before the end of this, but you'll see that he's just a machine, a one-man machine. He's literally growing everything, fruit trees, produce of every kind you can imagine. So where are you at now in terms of farm size?
Yeah, so I'm 3 years into a off-grid homestead development project. Actually, this is year 4. So it's 40 acres, but it's mountainous. So really I have 8 acres that I've fenced that all the buildings and stuff are in. But even in that, I mean, I'm only farming probably an acre.
Okay.
Yeah, probably combined. My gardens are a quarter acre with the greenhouses, and then my fruit forest is a quarter acre. So I'm at half an acre of that, and then I've got animals that I move around on some spots too. So call it an acre of growing, basically.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag of all kinds of stuff.
You know, on video, guys, everything looks bigger. So
it does.
When you see his place, you think, oh my God, the guy's got like 100 acres of stuff.
I got 40 acres, you know, it's big, but people just don't realize how little land you actually need to grow on. You know, in my book, The Urban Farmer, is all about that. So, yeah, I mean, and I still grow in I use the same methods. I still use 30-inch beds with 1-foot walkways. So I'm able to consolidate a lot into an area that most people would do 5 times the area to garden in than I would.
Gotcha. When did your book come out, Urban Farmer?
2016.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so you basically, I haven't had a chance to get it, but we'll put it on my list. What's the overall advice for people with small places? Is that what this book is?
The book's all about the details of how to manage and grow produce on small acreage and make a living at it. In that model, I was showcasing people how you could grow enough food to make $100,000 on a quarter acre.
Wow.
And that number scales probably up until about 2 acres. You could basically just 8x that number to get to 2 acres and 8x the money. But beyond that, then you run into marketing issues, like where are you going to move all this extra stuff? Because people go, well, you can make $100,000 on a quarter acre. That means you can make $400,000 on an acre. That's true. So why don't I just do 30 acres? Because it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of produce that you probably don't have a place to sell.
Yeah.
And when you get on scale, that's when you need tractors, because when you're on larger scale, you got to move stuff further around. So that's when the tractor becomes necessary. But in the small scale model that I was doing and still do, you don't need a tractor. Though I have machinery up at my place, you know, but when I was commercially farming, I did everything. I had a pedal bike, just pulling stuff around on a trailer. Right.
So my hope is to inspire people that are on the fence about getting into farming of any sort, you know, even at a suburban level or inner city. If you've got any yard space at all, you know, try it out, get with it. You got to take the first step. Not only farming do you cover, but your talk today was really good about private trusts versus public trusts. And the difference between a person who more or less is a natural person versus the corporate fiction. You know, maybe talk a little about that and how you got into studying that, and what is the benefit of knowing the difference?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. The benefit of knowing the difference is just like the benefit to knowing how to grow your own food or not.
Okay.
So in the sense that if we don't have agency over the things in our lives, they'll have agency over us. And so if you don't grow any of your own food or have some level of agency over it, you're eating shitty food.
Yeah.
Or you're paying a lot for organic food because it's expensive. The prices are mind-boggling.
Right.
Even down here, stuff's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the law and the fiction and the matrix and all that, it's much in the same way. If you don't have agency and understand how these things work, they're going to control you, and that's what they're meant to do. So I mean, I think your question is how I got into that. It was a long journey. I got into that stuff 24 years ago on a trip to college with my dad, telling me about the Federal Reserve and the Illuminati and the Council of 300 and all this stuff, the Committee of 300. And then, you know, a lot of years of pointless rabbit holes. But in 2014, I actually started writing law. I started actually doing paperwork because I didn't want them to put a smart meter on my house. And so we sent a notice of liability to the CEO of Fortis at that time, and he resigned the next day. And so that's when I saw the power of the pen, if you will.
And that was just 200 people.
200 people made this guy resign in 24 hours. And so the whole thing wasn't successful in that we didn't stop the smart meter campaign. But I saw the power of it, and then ever since then I kind of was like, well, there's something going on here. And so ever since then, as a farmer, I've had various agencies come at me for various different things, and I've been able to keep them off my back because I can speak their language and I can use their rules against them. And it's like Sun Tzu in The Art of War. It's know thy enemy.
Right.
And so if you know the rules of the enemy and the rules of engagement, you're going to have a far greater chance of succeeding.
Right.
And
Know
finding
thyself,
freedom.
know thy enemy, and you will never succumb in 1,000 battles.
Yep,
So, good
that's
deal.
right.
So any plans in the future? Do you plan to write a book on the tips and tricks about the law?
Kinda. I mean, I don't.
It could be really beneficial.
It could be. It's difficult writing about these things because it brings with it a lot of scrutiny and a lot of attention that might be unneeded.
Right.
So my focus lately is, because I've been working in the law, I guess it's like Brandon Joe Williams says, he's not an attorney at law, he's an attorney in fact.
Okay.
And so I like that. I think it's sort of a similar thing. I've been helping people in the private, and I'm kind of just liking doing it slow. You know, there's always this desire to red pill everybody and wake everybody up, but I don't know if we need that anymore. Like, there's enough people waking up already. Do you think we're going to wake up all these welfare recipients in St. Louis?
Right.
You know, no way.
So your advice would be more get to work.
Get to
right?
work, figure it out.
There's work to be done.
Yeah, there's work to be done. I mean, one thing I say to people is, if you want to learn about the law, read the law of the thing that's coming at you.
Right.
So if the USDA is coming at you with something, read the thing they're sending at you and ask questions and write them back and start a dialogue. The best way to learn is just to start doing stuff, because you can't get in trouble for writing a letter, right?
Right.
So that's important. And yeah, start reading definitions, get yourself a copy of Black's Law Dictionary, and start reading and talking to other people who are doing it. That's the fastest way to learn, is talk to people in the private who are doing stuff and learn from them. You can pay for their time and learn from them, because this stuff isn't all out in the public for a reason.
Right.
It's like, if we wake up too many sheep, they might come after us.
Right.
But they don't when we do it like this. When I do it privately, it's one-on-one, or it's in small private groups. It's different than me going on YouTube and say, hey, I'll tell you how to not pay taxes,
Right.
which I'll never do on YouTube.
Right.
So
You probably wouldn't have a channel for long.
I wouldn't.
but,
And
yeah.
they censor me enough as it is. As soon as I started talking about the New World Order, they just dialed me down.
Yeah.
So I barely publish to YouTube anymore, because what's the point? I know people see it. I'm going to keep doing it. But,
Right.
you know, it's a little annoying when you worked on something for so many years and then they just throttle you back and there's nothing
Yeah.
you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's their platform, so I'm not complaining about it. It's just how it is.
Do you have a Rumble channel?
I do. I'm on Rumble, yeah, and I'm on Odyssey as well.
Okay. Why don't you share your website for people
I'll
that
share.
might want to find out more about what you do?
Sure,
your
yeah.
work?
They can check out freedomfarmers.com. That's our main platform, where I show people how to get on the land and find properties for you too, to find good homestead properties. At Twitter, I'm at OffGridStone, and on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey, OffGrid with Curtis Stone.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And one piece of advice for anybody who's on the fence about homesteading or self-sufficiency.
Get off the fence, man. If you don't have agency over your resources, they're going to have agency over you, and they're waiting for that. The United States has been built up into this dependent welfare state for ever since FDR, really, is when it really started. Though something started before that, but they've built it up to tear it down, and that's coming.
All right. Well, I thank you, sir.
Yeah, right on, brother.
Appreciate you, and I'll be sure to catch your workshop tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
If I had his money, I could do things my way. But the little they know is so hard to find. One rich man in 10 with a satisfied mind. Once I was waiting in fortune and fame, everything that I dreamed for to get us started in life's game.
And just state your names for the audience.
Tim and Tammy Stutzman from Wisconsin.
From Wisconsin?
Yeah,
Yes.
Appleton, Wisconsin area.
Right.
How
Yes,
did it take you to get here?
about 7 hours, 7.5 hours,
Okay. very
and
good.
beautiful drive. We loved
Yes.
the area.
You noticed Doug had some chemicals on
Yes,
the back of his
yeah,
Forerunner.
had me concerned. Yep,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was got some chemtrails going on or what's going on with Doug. Nope.
You got a permit for that
Yeah.
barium and aluminum and
That's right.
magnesium and titanium.
That's right. Yeah, but we felt pretty safe. Since it was Doug, we knew that
Yeah.
he'd be watching out for us.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're all
I'm sure he
right.
has a permit. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what brought you guys to this event?
Mainly, well, we watch them pretty faithfully on YouTube. So, of course, like everybody else, and we're also very interested in homesteading
Have
and
natural
kind
remedies and
of learn how to do it on your own. And you know, I
Yeah.
watch Doug and Stacy, and then you always have to remember that it took them a while to get to where they are, right? So
Right.
you watch it and you think, how do you get to that right now? Then you realize that it takes a while to get to that. So
That's right.
well, yeah. So it's so we wanted to learn a little bit more about it, meet some folks that are, have the same thoughts, and
Yep.
so that was kind of part of it.
Just say, where are you at now in terms of property? You got a big property, small?
We don't. We live actually in a small. It's a suburb of Appleton, Wisconsin, so it's a small community. It's interesting because you can go from one community to the next, and but yet you would never know that you were going from one community to the next, right? But ours, I actually serve on our village board in Combined Locks, so ours is about 3,000 people in our village, and it's small lots. But one of the things that we've been considering for quite some time is looking at property. Everything's so expensive right now, and but looking at property outside of town. And she grew up on a farm, so her family still has a farm and so forth. So it's it's sad to watch that dwindle too, with everything the big farms taking over. But so we're just keep looking for property. The biggest thing is price and cost, and
Yeah.
where to go. That's probably the biggest.
You're not a big farming operation, but as a small, like, homeowner,
Yeah.
and with a little bit of yard space,
Yep.
what are you growing?
Well, and that's right now we're just starting. So I'm kind of the big gardener. She's kind
he's
of
more
like
into it. I'm learning.
she's learning. But in one of the things I think that we started looking at, like, there's areas of our property that we always planted flowers, make it look pretty, and all those things. And what I find myself now, and even though our yard is small, there's even one of the speakers here was going to talk about urban planting and so forth, and we've been looking at that online. But one of the things is really replacing the areas that used to always have flowers and all the pretty stuff, and replacing that with more of the vegetables. And we have a fruit tree like in our backyard, even though it's small again. We have like a pear tree and an apple tree, and just starting to do things like that, versus making the yard look pretty, I guess you would say, right? And then as far as the vegetables, it's typical for us. It's always the onions and the tomatoes and carrots and things like that.
Yeah.
The basics. We always, I don't know, it's maybe a Midwestern thing, so we kind of stick to the basics. And then trying to learn like garlic. My brother lives in Gilroy, California, which is the garlic capital, so he always sends me garlic, and I'm thinking, I gotta learn how to plant that. So we have some local folks that are into homesteading that they tell me the same thing. Plant your own, just plant your garlic. So I've been learning to do that too. So yeah, so it's awesome.
For a lot of people, the hardest thing about any kind of homesteading or self-sufficiency is the first step.
Yep.
Right.
What's your advice to people that might be afraid to take that first step?
Well, and I think, for us, it's just start doing it, right? I mean, you will see so many things. I laugh sometimes at what you see online, how to learn to do something, and I'm convinced, and I'm the same way. What prevents you from doing it is really you just don't do it. You know, so just taking that first step and just doing it, and don't think like you have to know it all. Like I feel really stupid sometimes with some of the stuff, and but then you look online. There's so many resources to learn how to do it, and then just start doing it. And I've messed up. I can't tell you when I started doing my garden how many times I messed up. Like I'm like, really? That's it? And it can be a little frustrating, but then you just do it again. Just keep doing it. So I would say that's probably the key is keep learning, keep doing it, just keep going forward. And when you start seeing better things happen with your garden, it gets a little bit more rewarding, but but just doing it, And I love it, and plus I just love it. I love being outside. When it gets warmer, I just enjoy it. So, and obviously I'm the talker for Tammy. She's like,
I like to research though, so the information's really important to me, you know.
Oh yeah.
Natural remedies.
Help me lose weight. That's her main goal right now. I'll tell you, healthy. Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable because it's funny how you get stuck into the way things are.
Well, he likes baking too. So.
My dad owned a bakery, so I grew up in that world.
Yeah, and, maybe natural, healthier baking items.
Yes. But I think you are really into like the grounding and all that.
I do
when she hears Stacy talk about that, she gets that's her thing.
Yeah.
And mine too is the more you learn, you know, it makes such a difference, and I think it's huge. But
that's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to
Sure.
say hello.
Yes.
Enjoy the conference.
Appreciate you, and God bless you, and hope it's awesome. We're going to enjoy it big time. Thank you very much.
Care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Dr. Patrick Jones.
The amazing
Dr. Patrick Jones. I don't want to be undermining the title.
Say it right.
Yeah. See, I'm learning.
That's right.
How many bags do I have to carry for this weekend? All right. So just, Dr. Jones, give us a little bit of background. How did you get into herbs?
So I was always kind of a edible plant kid, Boy Scout, Yule Gibbons, you know, all that stuff. All excited about that. And so I fiddled a little bit with medicinal stuff as a kid. And then I went down to Peru. I was a missionary down in Peru for a while. And those people are still living really close to the dirt. I mean, they know what all the plants are for, and that's what they use. Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of experiences with that while I was there, and I thought, wow, this is really so important and so useful. I came home, went to veterinary school, and they kind of beat all that out of you, you know. But when I got out of school, went into practice, I started using herbs a little bit. But my first really crazy case was a dog in liver failure came in. You know, super jaundiced, you know, not eating, just really in bad shape. And I got nothing for it. I mean, modern medicine has nothing for liver failure. Sure. And so we were keeping her comfortable, and, you know, it wasn't painful, but the owners weren't really ready to let her go, you know, kind of a sad deal. And a buddy of mine came into the shop, and he said, holy cow, what's wrong with that dog? And I said, oh, she's dying of liver failure. And he says, oh, you ought to call Mickey, he'll straighten her out. So Mickey's a buddy of mine. I knew him from church. I didn't know he's an herbalist, right? Mickey Young, nice guy. But he had a little herb company. And so he says, yeah, you need some number 27 is what you need, right? So he comes over and gives me this little Ziploc bag full of green powder. We do a drug deal in the parking lot, you know, and he says, here, squirt some of that in her a few times a day. And, you know, she wasn't eating at all, so I just mixed it with water, the powdered herbs, and squirted them in her 3 or 4 times that day. The next day, she wants to eat.
Oh, wow.
3 days later, she goes home completely resolved.
Okay.
Like, completely resolved.
Amazing.
You know, and so I thought, okay, I need to get serious. And I started really digging in, and so, you know, for the last decades, every animal in my practice almost was getting something herbal. You know, I mean, I was using meds and surgery and x-rays and everything else too. But my med cabinets, I had 2 about that big, and I had a whole room full of herbs. You know, because I could do stuff with herbs I couldn't begin to do with drugs.
How long was that transition from the allopathic to the herbal?
Well,
it matter of years? Or?
No. It was like that week.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, over the years, I accumulated more stuff and more tools to do it with. But no, I got real serious real fast. I was already piddling around. But because of the veterinary practice, I had this phenomenal laboratory that I could learn anything I wanted. You know, I could try it on anything.
Right.
And so as a result, I had a lot of experience with things most herbalists don't do, gangrene and gunshot wounds and rattlesnake bites and sepsis and, serious stuff.
Right.
And found that the herbs were as good or better in most cases. And so, I started trying to tell other people about it and doing little lectures, and somebody says, "Oh, you should write a book." And I said, "I don't have time to write a book." "Oh, well, no, write us a book." And so I wrote a book. And then they said, "You should do a school." And I said, "Well, I don't have time to do a school." And they said, "Well, we'll pay you for it in advance." I said, "It doesn't exist." No, it's okay. We'll pay you for the school. And I said, "You might get a lesson every couple of months, maybe, if you're lucky." And we don't care. And people were signing up for the school because I've been lecturing around. So I started the school, and over several years got the thing done because people had paid for it.
Right.
Anyway, but it's turned into this huge thing, and we've got about, probably 7,000 students now, and all over the world. I mean, everywhere from, all over Australia, South Africa, Europe, all over North America.
All these people are learning this.
And it's been fun. But because of the veterinary background, it really did give me a fantastic laboratory and opportunity to learn a lot of things that, people aren't able to do.
When did you went from treating animals to people probably started coming in, "Hey doc,
Well, yeah, what happened was, I give something to the dog for his arthritis, and 3 days later his owner's in there, "Hey, wait a minute. What do you got for me for arthritis?" And I said, "Well, you can take all the same herbs your dog's taking, and I give him some, and pretty soon I'm doing as much of that. I decided I ought to go to naturopath school just for fun. They made me teach the herbal medicine section. But anyway, learned some other cool stuff, some acupuncture stuff and some other fun things. But so I had 2 practices. So if you're a dog, you go to this building. If you're sick as a dog, you go to the other building. We'd straighten you out one way or the other.
Best of both worlds.
But and then because of the other funny thing was because I'd done all this stuff with dogs and cows and chickens and horses for 30 years, 20 years. I had this completely inappropriate confidence level with humans. As well, we'll just put some weeds on it, it'll heal. It works on the dogs, works on the cows.
See, that's what I love about you and your style is because, like I said, I was a nurse for 20 years, and the medical field has become very horrible, especially bedside. They're on their computer instead of looking at you and touching you and dealing with you. So I love your way of just being laid back and common sense, and it's not as scary for people.
Yeah. Well, there are some great tools that have been around for thousands and thousands of years, and the real tragedy would be if we're the generation that lets it go. That would be really sad. And interestingly, as I was doing herbal stuff, I have these old dusty herb books that say this is good for this and it's good for that, and Culpeper guys like that, and I could try it. Because I'm a vet and who cares? I've got the piece of paper that says I'm allowed, And so I was doing all kinds of stuff that's been done for a long, long time, but nobody's dared do for a long, long time, And we just, I just don't want us to be the guys that drop the ball. We really need to learn this stuff and pass it on to the next guys.
Yes.
2 more quick questions.
Sure.
Your most notable case for healing for human?
Well, I've had a lot of cases over the years. People that have, horrible compound fractures, and they go to wound management clinics for 18 months and get nowhere. And if we do herbal stuff, it's all healed up in 3 months. Drugs and knives can't make things heal faster. They just can't. But comfort can. I had a lady, just an example, I had a lady that had a tumor on her head, like the size of a grapefruit, a big tumor. And they cut it off, and then she had a hole that big in her scalp. Yeah, it's in the school. Go to homegrownherbalist.net and look at the blog. I've got a lot of wound cases there. But she'd been going to a wound management place. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She hadn't. She had the surgery, and the next day they said, okay, you need a skin graft. And they wanted to take a big piece of skin off her bottom and sew it to her head so she'd look like Friar Tuck for the rest of her life, And anyway, we used herbs on that, and it healed right up. And that's just one of lots and lots of cases. We've had some horrible dog wounds. You know, dogs do really dumb things.
Yeah.
Snake bites.
Yeah, and rattlesnake bites and gunshots and stuff. And it's just, you know, if you have the tools, you know, the body is this phenomenal creation, and if you give it what it needs, it'll fix stuff.
Get out of the way.
You know, get out of the way, give it what it needs, quit giving it stuff it doesn't know what to do with. And healing is a pretty natural thing.
It is, and the first herb book I ever read when I started studying herbs said 93% of everything we get, everything will heal on its own. 93%.
Yeah.
If we do nothing, you know. So.
Yeah. No, if we get, and the other really neat thing about herbs compared to pharmaceuticals, and you know, for some things pharmaceuticals are great. I mean, you know, I'd be dead 3 times if it wasn't for smart guys with a knife.
Yep.
You know, I've had surgeries, but the thing about a drug is there's one chemical in there. You know, herbs have 15 chemicals.
Right.
And they're all doing stuff. You know, and you know, like Prozac has 1 chemical for your brain. St. John wort has like 14.
Yep.
So if number 3 doesn't work, maybe number 9's the one you want.
Right.
Or maybe number 12 and number 8 together is what you need.
Yep.
And it's like with, you're setting out a buffet for your body, and they can just go, oh, that looks good, and oh, I want some of that. That'd help, you know.
Right.
Whereas with bacterial infections, they figure out the one chemical. They're like, wipe this guy out. We got this.
Yeah. And then the bacteria figure out that one chemical and it doesn't work anymore. That's right. Whereas with an herbal antibiotic that has 11 antibiotic things in it, how does he get resistant to that? Yeah, exactly. You know, how do you get used to that? You know, so it's a great system.
Most challenging, I would say, and I used to have another question, but I would say cancers. Cancers are really
hard.
Hard with herbs. I mean,
They are really hard.
So many different kinds, and there's many reasons for cancers. It's not all physical. So.
Yep. And you know, cancers are super specific. I mean, every kind of cancer comes from a different kind of cell, and there are herbal things that I've done sometimes to help cancer situations. Honestly, and I've seen thousands of cases in the vet practice over 30 years, but there's probably only been 4 or 5 where the cancer was gone in a week and nobody knew why. Most of them, however, with herbal intervention, feel lots better and do lots longer. But I do tell people, if you're doing anything, and I wasn't doing chemo on dogs, you know what I mean? Because people can't afford it anyway. And so we were just doing herbal stuff. If people are doing chemotherapy or any other pharmaceuticals for that matter, you want to be really careful with herbs and drugs, especially with chemo, because the whole point of chemo is to kill things. And people say, oh, well, shouldn't I take some milk thistle or some burdock to protect my liver from it? No, because it'll make it go away. And if you're going to poison yourself, do it like you mean it. You know, I mean, that's what chemotherapy is.
Once it's over.
When it's over, take some burdock and milk thistle, you know, to see if you can fix things. And I do a lot of that post-chemo. But I don't at all recommend that people combine herbs and drugs without knowing exactly what they're doing, because you can get into a mess. Yep.
Final question. The reason for this podcast is to catalyze people, especially my own listeners, who are possibly on the fence about homesteading, natural remedies, living off grid, or just becoming self-sufficient, herbal remedies, things of that nature. What's your best advice for somebody who's on the fence?
I would say self-reliance is an extraordinarily empowering thing. I mean, I raised 15 kids. Okay, we had 15 kids.
Wow.
We had 11 adopted and 4 homemade, right? And my kids, 15 kids, I had 3 doctor visits over the whole course of raising those kids.
Wow.
You know, I had one that had an altercation with a peanut butter jar and needed stitches, and she was 3, and I wasn't going to do it on a 3-year-old, you know. And then I had one that had a seizure for no reason. Better figure out what that's about, you know. But those were the 3 cases. And everything else, my kids went out to the garden. You know, they got a bellyache, go eat some parsley. You know, you got diarrhea, take some angelica seed. You got an infection, take some calendula. I mean, they knew what it was all for, because that's just what we did all day. That's what we were doing. It's part of your life. That's what your grandma used to do, you know. And like I say, we don't want to be the generation that loses that.
Yeah.
And we're so tangled up in this commercialized system that's doing all kinds of stuff that's making the world a mess. And we can either say, oh well, or we can say, well, good for you guys. My life doesn't have to be a mess. And you don't have to, you know, not have electricity or plumbing or whatever. But it'd be really smart to know how to do some things if you didn't have those things.
Right.
You know,
Sure.
know how to use things.
Yeah.
And I just say start small. You know, just one. Start herbalism small. Learn one plant.
Yeah.
If you knew 10, you could do about anything.
Right.
You know, but learn one, read about it, plant it in your garden, use it, figure out what he can do for you, then do another one, and pretty soon you got 5 or 10 or 15, and you can do all kinds of things.
Awesome.
You know, so it's and the same thing with food, the same thing with sewing or cooking or canning. Just do a little bit. Find somebody that knows how to do it, and learn how to do it. It's fun.
And I gotta say to that end too, not everybody, he thinks I should become an herbalist. I love it as a hobby, you know.
Yeah.
And I help my friends with anything. You don't have to take it all the way or become an herbalist.
No.
Or you can if you want to. That's,
Sure.
It's your choice. You know,
Yeah.
you feel that need, but learn about it nonetheless.
Yeah, and you don't have to go into practice.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But you know,
Or you can help yourself.
you can help yourself and your kids and your grandkids and your neighbor lady and your dog and your cow and your chicken. That's handy.
That's
You know.
You just
and-
saved hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
You didn't need insurance, and the pharmacy and the hospital is right outside your door. For
That's right.
Nature.
That's right.
So share your website for the
Yeah,
audience.
so the website is homegrownherbalist.com. And, you know, we've got a full line of herb supplements if anybody wants to not grow their own or can't right now. I've got several books I've written that are on there, The Homegrown Herbalist, Homegrown Herbalist Guide to Medicinal Weeds. And then we have the school, which is the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine.
That's .net, right?
Yeah, .net.com.
They'll both go.
Homegrownherbalist.anything will get to us. We bought them all.
Thank you for your time, Dr. Jones.
Thank you for
Appreciate
everything you're doing.
You bet.
You're inspiring.
Yes.
Well, we were glad to meet you guys and get together.
Thanks.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
We
It's
will.
almost over.
Yeah.
I'm here with Dr. Sharashkin, and he is a beekeeper extraordinaire and hive builder, and am I saying that right?
Pretty much.
Apiary master.
Yes. The amazing Dr.
The amazing Dr. Leo. Okay. So, Dr. Leo, thanks for coming on and agreeing.
Oh, my
to talk
pleasure.
with us. Can you tell us, how did you get into beekeeping?
I grew up in Russia, and my uncle is a beekeeper. He started keeping bees naturally in 1972, before I was even born. So it was part of my upbringing, spending summers in his village and seeing him work the bees. It was fascinating, and of course, all the fabulous honey we were eating as kids created a strong interest in doing it when you grow up.
Very good. The difference in your hives versus the Langstrom.
Yeah, the hives mostly used in America are the vertical hive that's known as the Langstroth hive, after the name of the inventor. But in other parts of the world, people use a combination of vertical hives and horizontal hives. Actually, the most ancient hives known to humanity from ancient Egypt, they were horizontal hives. There was a brood chamber where bees raised their young bees in one end and honey stored in the other end, making it very easy to remove honey without disturbing the rest of the hive. And historically, many parts of the world, especially when they were needing low disturbance to the bees to provoke their aggressive response, preferred horizontal hives. To this day, it's not just for beekeepers in the backyard. In some countries, it's used on the big commercial scale. Also, it doesn't require lifting because all of the frames are on the same level. So you lift one frame at a time. There are no 50-pound boxes to lift, making it accessible to everyone. Also, you have access to all of the frames at once. It's like playing piano. If you need to remove frames with honey, you can do so without touching the rest of the box. If you are adding frames for them to produce honey, you are not disturbing the rest of the box. So it's easy on the beekeeper, and it's also easy on the bees. I saw both kinds of hives in practice when I was apprenticing with my uncle, and I gave a choice to the horizontal hives because with the family and 5 children and work and everything, and there is only that much time that I want to devote to the bees. But I get the inspiration from knowing that this is how it was done for centuries and thousands of years, People would put bees in a beehive and open it once a year, twice a year to get honey, and the rest the bees do themselves because they're still wild creatures that can do without any of our help. I do not feed bees sugars, I do not treat them with any chemicals, and I don't even buy bees. They come for free in swamp traps, little beehives that I put on trees in the springtime to attract swarms the same way as birds are attracted to birdhouses.
Very good, very good.
Do you think this horizontal hive is going to, I think it's going to become the new way of beekeeping. I know it's hard to let go. A lot of people have all the Langstroth equipment, but I think this is going to be a good way for beekeeping.
Yeah, thank you. You know, if you look up the original picture of the Langstroth hive and the blueprints that he had in 1853, you will be surprised to see that the original Langstroth hive was double wall hive with insulation between the walls. He was emphasizing the importance of insulation. That makes sense because bees like us, they need to maintain 98-degree temperature for incubating brood. They need to stay warm in the winter, etc. So it makes sense that they want to be in a cavity that's well insulated. This is their natural habitat. When they live in a tree in the woods, there are many inches of wood around and above them to provide this protection. Now, the conventional beehives, the vertical stacked ones, just to make them cheaper and easier to manufacture, they're made with single walls, and depending on where you are, it may not be adequate protection. In the south, it's not adequate protection from the heat. In Michigan, it's not adequate protection from the cold. So the reason horizontal hives are attractive today to many beekeepers is that when you build a horizontal hive box, if you live in a climate that would require good protection for the winter or in the heat of the summer, you can build that box insulated once and for all. Of course, you could insulate every individual box in a stacked hive, but it would be so much work. It's easier to build one big box that's double wall insulated, and that's actually something that Langstroth himself recommended. So amazingly, nothing is what it seems, and the beehive that now carries his name is the beehive he was referring to as the miserable hive, because he thought that hives that do not have double wall and insulation for wintering are just worthless. Right. So, you know, there is combination of factors, and then, you know, it's fun, children can help. My daughter started beekeeping with me at the age of 8. If she was to lift 50-pound boxes, forget about it. But at age 8, she started with me. At age 10, she decided to buy her own beehive. She's now 12. She has 12 beehives herself. She knows how to do it. She physically can do it on her own and has fun doing it. So it's really keeping bees with a smile. That's the title of the book I translated from Russian for you. It's not just about getting honey from the bees. It's doing it in a manner that's respectful for the bees, but also a lot of fun for the beekeeper. That's why I believe the horizontal hives and catching the swarms really takes off. But I'd like to emphasize that the style of the hive that you use is secondary to the kind of the bees you put in the box. If you were to build a hive from free plans on my website, horizontalhive.com, or purchase a box from me, and then go and purchase a commercial package of bees that have no disease resistance, they're not winter hardy for where you live, you cannot really count on success. So natural beekeeping is about giving bees good home, but also making sure that the bees in that home are locally acclimated. And this means catching free local swarms that will be coming from local wilderness, or even if you live in the city, there are plentiful wild colonies living in the walls of buildings, so you can still catch a non-managed wild colony by putting up a little hive called swamp trap in your backyard in suburbia or wherever you live.
So a lot of people are scared a little bit to get into bees, things that sting, nature.
Yeah.
What's your advice for people that might be a little fearful but have this desire? Do you guys wear beekeeping suits?
I started by doing that, and even the book by Layens, this is the inventor of this horizontal hive I use, Georges de Layens from France. His advice in the book, do start using protection until you feel comfortable. And I started wearing the coveralls like you see this cosmonaut suit that people use, and it was helpful for the first couple of years, or if you are a child. But eventually, as you get to know the bees, and especially when you use the style of beekeeping that doesn't disturb the nest as much, instead of shuffling boxes around, and of course bees are all distressed, when you use something where you just open the box, add a few frames and close the box, or you open the box, you pull a few frames and close the box, the rest of the hive doesn't even know that you open it. So there is so little intervention that right now I work my hives with no protection. I always carry it with me just in case I come across a very, I don't want to use the word mean, but hot colony.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's about giving a sense of it and just practicing low disturbance, because bees are not aggressive, they're defensive. If you do not make them vile, they have no reason to go and strike you. And a word of encouragement to people who are concerned about getting a sting or two, I can tell you that for many conditions, stings may be good for you. In the old times, before pharmaceuticals were available, beekeepers were treating thousands of people with arthritis, with multiple sclerosis, and many other conditions with bee stings very successfully. There are entire books written about that. So consider this, a local naturopath where I live charges $60 for giving you 4 bee stings. If you become a beekeeper, you can get as many as you like at no cost. And you're laughing, but I know people who got into beekeeping not for honey, they got into beekeeping for bee stings because, for example, they had bad arthritis in their joints and hands, and working with the bees with no gloves, they would get stung and eventually the arthritis leaves. It's real life stories that I can share just knowing the people who achieved this improvement by working with their beehives.
Oh, that's very cool. Now, we've heard a lot in the past few years, it could be mainstream media fear-mongering or whatnot, but talk of hives and bee colonies disappearing. What do you notice with your hives and your operation and others you may know who do this more natural, organic approach to beekeeping versus what we hear from NPR or other mainstream media outlets that the bees are all disappearing? What's your take on that?
Yeah, actually, it's not just my opinion, but let's look at the opinion of researchers who really looked at that. For example, there is Dr. Tom Seeley from Cornell University, one of the best researchers on not just the honeybees that live in the beehives, but also how they live in the wild. And if you listen to his opinion, he's saying it's true that bees are collapsing and disappearing, but it is true for the commercial genetics of the bees that are being artificially bred, and then they have very shallow genetic pool, they're not locally adapted, they have a poor diet of sugar syrup instead of their own honey. So it's almost like a death by 1,000 cuts. So if you take bees that were modified by humans to become domesticated livestock, they become so tender, so dependent on you, then yeah, you have a blow of wind or a new parasite and a massive number of hive dies. But what Seeley established, he went back to the woods and he saw that while commercial beekeeping operations were suffering with huge mortality, for example, there is this small tick that attaches itself to the bees and transfers viruses. It's called the varroamide. So today, most beekeepers in America try to kill the varroamites, treat their beehives to bring down the population of this parasite. But what Seeley found, that if you go into the woods, today the number of bee trees with wild colonies living there is exactly the same as it was before the varroamites arrived. So of course first there was mortality, but it's the selection process, natural selection. The colonies in the wild that do not cope with some kind of parasite, they disappear, and the ones that have natural adaptation, they carry on and reproduce, and after a few generations you have natural resistance. So again, it's true that commercial colonies, because of shallow genetics, the diet of sugar, and why do people feed bees sugar? Well, that's because they can buy sugar syrup at 50 cents a pound and they can sell their honey at maybe $5, $10 a pound. So it's all about money. It's not about the welfare of the bees. For me, bees come first. I would not do something that would damage them. I would not take more honey from them than what's real surplus, something they would not be able to consume themselves. So when you put bees first, then they have no reason to disappear and die, because you respect the same kind of lifestyle they would have in the woods, even better.
Right. Excellent.
That's exactly right. And like the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm for doctors. I mean, that's how we should be with the bees. The doctors, I think, have failed in that with the humans. And I can't help but think that this industry of treating bees, I got a subscription to American Bee Journal, and they're selling bee water. It's got high fructose corn syrup in it. And I'm like, why would you do that? So treating the bees, the varroamites, the diseases, feeding them sugar water, no wonder they're weak.
Yeah,
The same with humans. Get your vaccine. Take 1 million antibiotics.
Oh, you're talking about
blood
vaccines.
pressure.
Do you know that FDA approved the vaccine for
I
the
heard that.
honeybees last year? It's crazy. It is crazy.
so
Yeah,
we're
40
just-
million years they were doing without the
Yeah,
vaccine. Now we
but
need a
we-
vaccine to keep them healthy.
Same with us. It's the same thing. So I feel like we as humans do to the bees what's being done to us.
And then, but when we do it to the bees, it comes back, because if you put carcinogens into your beehive, it will work its way into honey, and then you feed it to your children, and the loop closes itself.
Why
It's
is
like
this
Roundup
not-
in your garden.
Yeah, exactly. You know, talking about Roundup, when they took samples of organic honey sold in America, 45% was found to have Roundup in it. So that's why, you know, I'm telling people, I sell honey, but it's so expensive. But the point is, you don't have to rely on someone to provide the honey. In the old days, almost everyone had bees, and it still can be done as simply as they were doing it hundreds of years ago. It's not as easy. It's not easy, but it's simple. Do you feel the difference? You just need to follow the natural blueprint. And the first thing, get your bees locally. Don't buy bees from a completely different ecoregion, from commercial operations. They just they keep bees under such artificial conditions that with these commercial bees you can be successful, but you would need to recreate highly artificial conditions. If you want natural beekeeping, start with natural honeybees. Even Winnie the Pooh was saying there was the right sort of bees and the wrong sort of bees. If you want to do natural beekeeping, you want to have natural wild honeybees. Catch local swarms, no cost. You can download free plans for building a small hive that will attract honeybee swarms in the spring, called Swarm Trap, from horizontalhive.com. You can buy one from me, but again, just build your own if you like it, but get local bees from swarms. Yeah, hanging the Swarm Trap. And you know, it's not my advice, it's the advice you read in children's books from 100 years ago. I was reading Alice Through the Looking Glass as a bedtime story to my kids a number of years back, and there in chapter 9, there is the admonition: if you have an empty box, like a freaking empty box, put it up in the tree so to attract honeybees. It's as simple as that. So it needs to be certain volume, 10 gallons, but you know, it's very inexpensive. Like the Swarm Traps I sell, the price of the Swarm Trap that will keep catching you swarms every year is about the same as you would pay for one package of bees that come from a completely different climate that will die on you. So my advice is just first educate yourself and get inspired. The book Keeping Bees with a Smile, I love. I translated from Russian because it was like that. It's with a smile. It shows how if you go against nature, it becomes a lot of struggle all the time, and very expensive too. You need to buy bees, it's stressful on them. You need to buy sugar syrup, you need to treat them with chemicals, then they die. You need to buy more bees, and on and on. So it becomes like, you know, keeping bees with a frown, or ibuprofen in the glove compartment of your vehicle. But it was really keeping bees with a smile. I started doing it. It was so much fun. It's helpful. Like you get a feeling. I think that's what attracting bees to the people to natural beekeeping. It's not just having honey that's pure. It's also you get the feeling that you are doing something right. It makes sense. You are connecting to just the natural world in a very direct way. And you see it all works. It doesn't take a lot of expense, doesn't take a lot of effort time. It's a lot of fun. So educate yourself. Keeping Bees with a Smile is a great resource to get started and getting inspired. And then just hang one Swarm Trap. Even if you don't want honey initially, just put it like people do with birdhouses. I know many people put a Swarm Trap in the tree, and when the bees arrive, they just leave them like there for pollinators, for their garden, for flowers around your place. Just provide it. Yeah, a bee nest, artificial bee nest, especially today when, imagine how few big trees with cavities in them we have today compared to the virgin forest. Yeah. So even setting up a Swarm Trap to provide habitat for the bees is a great first step. But once you have it, when you say, oh gosh, I got a free swarm of bees, it's the first step in getting what they call bee fever. When you have bee fever, the bees will do the rest.
People love their bees. Was it Russia or France where everyone had like 50 hives in their backyard? That a garden and beehives.
Oh yeah.
Everyone did. It was just
everywhere.
standard.
Yeah, like old-time Europe.
Yeah.
And the reason for that was until 150 years ago, honey was less expensive than sugar. Yep. Sugar was considered a luxury that only like noble people, the king would afford. So this was for the elite, but regular people ate honey. Even statistics show that 100 years ago, consumption of honey per person was much more than what it was today. And think about it, 100 years ago, diabetes was almost unknown of. Right. There were a few people, of course, with that, but it was not an epidemic of diabetes. So people were eating as much honey as they wanted 100 years ago, and there was no diabetes. Now all but all people mostly consume sweets in the form of sugar, table sugar, and diabetes statistics are just through the roof. Yeah.
High fructose corn syrup is
Yeah.
everywhere. So.
Well, we thank you very much
Yes,
for your time.
you're
Just
doing great work.
share your website one more time
Yeah,
for the audience.
horizontalhive.com, and the word hive is singular, no S at the end. Horizontalhive.com. There are free plans, there are free FAQs on getting started, so you can get a lot of information to get you off with the bees this very season.
And I'm Lori Presti, and I approve this message.
All right, well, there it is from the mama. All right. Thank you, Dr. Leo.
Yeah, very welcome.
You'll be so lonely you could die.
Watson Prunier, Prunier.
Cool.
Oh,
And you run a podcast called Battle for Freedom.
Yes, I've been doing this since 2014. I started actually 20 years ago on Blogger. I had a blog called Caucasianly Challenged Christian because I hated politically correct terms. And about 10 years ago, I decided to get into radio. I was calling into these different shows, and the host let me answer the questions. And I was like, I'm really liking this vibe here. I was like, I think I have a few things to say. Let me try it myself. And I've been doing it since 2014. I've been enjoying it.
Awesome. It's very cool. Well, what got you interested in homesteading?
Well, you know, I had some friends who were just basically telling me about living off the grid for a long time. And one of the things is that you sit there, you watch the state of our nation. And one of the things that we have to grow out of our dependence on government, our dependence on technology, our dependence on a lot of these things that we've made comfortable to believe we need these things. And so one of the things is my wife, she watches Doug and Stacy every Sunday night. I have a few other different manuals. I have other friends who are in this as well, and we want to try to put together our breakout groups when everything goes south. Well, my thing is in my group, I want to be able to contribute. So I need to learn the tools that makes me a valuable asset, part of our community, instead of someone who's just sucking out rather than contributing.
Right.
I think that's what everyone should do. And I know everyone will have their own niche from how they contribute, but the more we learn, the better we can help one another out. So
Absolutely.
That's my goal.
Awesome. So how far did you have to travel to get here?
5.5 hours.
Indiana?
From Indiana. Now, it took a little bit longer because we took a couple of stops and all, but we're listening to the Count of Monte Cristo and music at the same time, so it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Just talk about that briefly, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, I love it. The Count of Monte Cristo is probably my, outside of Dead Poet Society, it's my favorite book.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Captain, my Captain. And
just talked about that in the last podcast I did.
Really?
So yeah. Synchronicity.
Oh, I love it. Well, you sit there and the Count of Monte Cristo, a person who was betrayed by his friends because of jealousy, because of covetousness, and they wanted something that someone else didn't have. People who were well endowed looked at someone who didn't have. It was kind of like the story of David and taking Bathsheba from Uriah the Hittite. He was a king. He had a whole kingdom. He had harems, but he wasn't happy with that. And so what happens is Edmond Dantes, written by Alexandre Dumas, he gets thrown into the Shadow D'If that my daughters love making fun of. Though I walk through the valley of the Shadow D'If, that's what they say. Yeah. But it's a story of revenge. It's a story of revenge, and I know that there are many times in my past there are people who hurt me, and it was therapeutic to read the Count of Monte Cristo so that I didn't have to take out the revenge myself.
Now, we talked about this yesterday. You and Curtis Stone and I sat for probably 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
In the volunteer room there.
Yeah.
And just chatted about everything.
Everything under the sun.
Awesome. I love those kinds of conversations. But you mentioned that you're doing the audiobooks for your daughter?
Yes. So what I'm doing is I have actually a novel series that's out there right now. It's on Amazon. I had one printed copy. I'm going to reprint them all. It's called Stone's Heart. I'm redoing the website later for other things I need to focus on. But it's basically a fantasy novel, sci-fi novel, basically about a guy who's basically traveling a universe, looking for pieces of this device called the Stone's Heart to defeat his nemesis who's on his tracks. So it's almost like Chronicles of Narnia meets, Lord of the Rings meets, there's one more. Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, / Star Wars.
Okay.
And because I introduced new species, new planets, there's a whole cuneiform that I've developed for this, and my one of my oldest, because we homeschool, and the first thing she did is she's written her first novel, which I'm going to basically be it was within 6 months of being pulled out of one of the top schools in Indiana. And also, I encourage her because she likes writing music, and so she starts putting I'm telling her, hey, create musical scores, and if you put one together that we can work with, and I'll put it into the movie. So now she wants to do that, and we also make sound bits for my podcast. So we make funny stories like dad leaving the drive-through, like the disasters going there, me driving. Oh yeah, my middle child, we call the sniper personality. She drops her chicken sandwich, and she just starts complaining. So we literally put skits together, and my wife will narrate part of it, and we just have fun. And it's encouraging creativity with my kids. They build everything with Legos. They take cars, they take books, they build city plans in their room.
Now I'm going to have you on one of my actual podcasts.
Okay.
What's the best advice you can give to inspire people to just go for it and start getting into it?
Don't delay. Here's a problem. Again, as I said earlier, we are so accustomed to technology, the streaming services, all these things that basically allow us to be entertained and detached from society and everything like that. Well, that's where we fall the most, is when we put our guards down and think that there's nothing to worry about. When you think about the lifestyle of those who came long before our technologies, they had a consistent, non-sedimentary lifestyle. They didn't have to worry about the things, I've got girth on me because my desk job allows me to sit down, not like my previous jobs where I was moving from plant to plant, providing support. And so there's a lot of things that we don't do with our hands anymore. And we just have to think about this. Our culture is designed to force us to stand in front of a screen. Whereas if you go out and you do bees, you get your own cattle, your own plants.
And your screen is actually nature.
Yeah, your screen is nature, exactly. And there's so much more. There's so much room for inspiration, for growth and learning. One of the things that I have a video game addiction. So I had to go 17 years without a console in my home because I really knew how bad it was for me playing video games. My son is addicted to it, and he used to write, but the video games now warped his understanding of reality, and he can't create. I barely let my kids touch a video game console, and their creativity, they come up with ideas. My daughter's first book I like better than mine because her creativity is that amazing. She's like, oh, it's not good, Dad. I was like, honey, I was sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to see where you're going to go next with your story. I can't wait for the next one. So, cultivate that environment, or probably one of the most condemning movies that ever came out that talks about the disasters of our current design of society is Surrogates with Bruce Willis. You ever see that movie? Excellent movie.
I'll have to check it out.
The concept of the movie was they were concerned about people getting themselves injured. So what they did is they created these robots that were basically connected. You would sit in a console at home and you would pretty much live through it. Kind of like Avatar.
Yeah.
It was like a precursor to Avatar.
Reality,
And you were living through the robots. So if you got hit by a car or whatever you did, whatever you wanted to, you just do that and everyone would have fun. The only problem though is people were staying in their alcoves, living their lives through the robots, and they weren't living life naturally.
Right.
And so there was this attack against the people who didn't want to do that. They just wanted to live normal. They wanted to live free from technology, and so they were ridiculed, and they were considered outlaws and outcasts of society. And the movie ends where the system controlling the whole matrix will shut down, and everybody starts walking out of their home. They're in their robes on the street because all their avatars are laying on the ground. Now I think
pretty cool. Yeah.
we had, Second World that they had like over 10 years ago. Then you have, now we have goggles, VR goggles, and I love technology. You have to understand, I love technology. I'm a programmer. I've been IT for 35 years.
Right.
This is my bread and butter. But I understand there's a danger here as well too, because like you said, they're controlling what your reality is, virtual reality. Whereas I was just looking out today, not a cloud in the sky, barely
Not a
can see
chemtrail either.
not a chemtrail either. It's beautiful.
Dude, the past week has been chemtrail free over Missouri.
Oh, this is beautiful.
So don't jinx us.
Don't jinx us, yeah. No, seriously, don't delay. Don't start small. I know it's a lot to contain. Start somewhere, get good at it, and if you want to migrate to something else, go ahead and do it. But it's a world of learning, and you know what it is? It's a world of freedom.
Yeah.
Homesteading is a world of freedom if you want it.
And it's a volunteer.
Yes, yes, it's a volunteer lifestyle.
Thank you, Watson.
Oh, anytime, Matt. I appreciate it. Oh, you got it, brother. I appreciate it. This is good. Yeah.
Thanks.
You got it.
I'm Jesse Vaughn. Live in Ellsbury. I go around and sing. That's about all I do.
Jesse Vaughn, you're a guitar player and a vocalist.
Yep.
Any other instruments to play?
I can play the piano. Not right. I just taught myself how to play it. Can kind of play the fiddle. And that's about it.
All right. Well, some of your music I've recorded will be a bed under this video, which will help promote the event. And, so how do people get in touch with you if they want to do your work?
You can. Well.
You got a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I got TikTok. I got YouTube. You can just look up Jesse Vaughn.
Look up Jesse
music,
Vaughn.
and it'll probably come up.
So how'd you get into guitar playing?
I was little. I always kind of liked to sing, and I got a real cheap guitar from Amazon. And I was sitting there playing it with my thumbs when my uncle came up. He said, well, if you're going to learn how to play the guitar, you're going to get a nice one. You're going to learn how to play it right. So he showed me 3 chords. I just picked it up from there.
Good deal. Good deal. So who are your big influences?
Probably Johnny Cash and Hank Williams and Keith Whitley and Elvis, all them old guys, honestly.
Cool. Good deal. How old are you?
19.
Man, you're young. You got a long road ahead of you. But very cool. You write any of your own music?
Yeah, I got probably about 20, 25 songs I've wrote. I only like 5 of them, so I keep the rest of them hid away.
Gotcha. But it's a work in art, right? Work in progress.
Yep.
Good deal. Any plans to do any touring? You've been approached by any?
No, not really. I'm not opposed to it though. It'd be cool.
Try and pull your websites up too, the link under this video. But make sure you reach out and contact Jesse Vaughn, guys, if you like what he's got to offer. He's got a great voice and good stage presence. So, all right, well, I appreciate you joining us. Any advice for people starting out in music who are unsure? What do you give them advice to keep going? Just to
don't be afraid if it's quiet, or people, don't be afraid of people or what to say to people or what people are going to think while you're singing. Don't worry about it, because they're not the one up there singing anyway. So.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for taking time to
no problem.
chat with us.
It's a pleasure.
Check out Jesse Vaughn, y'all.
Thanks.
Once I was waiting in fortune and fame, everything that I dreamed for to get a start in life's game.
So my name's Doug. We have a channel called Off Grid with Doug and Stacy on YouTube. We also run some homesteading conferences where we try to teach people how to break free from the matrix and how to provide for themselves. And we basically started this because we were fed up, sick and tired, like literally sick and tired. And we wanted to live healthier, have more control over our food, not be a part of the system anymore. So we just basically checked out. 15 years ago, we built a log cabin on 11 acres with no skills, city rats. And it's been working out fantastic. And actually, we live by an Amish community, in case you're curious about my clothes. I like to spend my money in my neighborhood now, right? I'm not a global citizen. So I like to take care of my neighborhood, and I don't mind the clothes, and they don't mind making them for me. So we live just like the Amish, just like them. No electric power, solar, nothing. Well, actually, we just got solar, but no public utilities at all.
So you and Stacy started about 20 years ago?
It's been 15 years that we left. Well, 17 because we spent 2 years in a 1-bedroom apartment to get ready for the tiny space, because we were coming off almost 3,000 square foot of a house. So we lived there for a year and a half while I was building the cabin, and then we moved up there. And I slept in a tent, built the cabin and everything by myself up here with help with a few friends.
For people on the fence who are a little, let's say, unsure about getting into this kind of thing,
right?
What was your inspiration, and what can you tell them to get them off the fence and get into action?
Yeah, that's a hard one because everybody has their own inner, like urgencies, right? So it just depends. For us, it was our health, right? My wife was having some health issues, and we were just noticing that the food was kind of making us sick. And so that was one of our first things that motivated us to even grow our own food. But then it was just the water. So, you just have to weigh it. Like, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to live a sickly life, going to big pharma, living in the congested city, and not passing anything on to your kids? I mean, this is crazy. Or do you want to live in the country and grow your own food and have your kids around you all the time, and they have their kids there? And you know what I mean? Like, that is what we're supposed to be doing, not the sticks in the city and all this work for the Rockefeller program. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but you guys wouldn't even be doing this stuff if the Rockefellers hadn't meddled in your life and stole the schools away from your neighborhoods. The communities all ran the schools by the people in the town. The Rockefellers stripped that from us and created the institutions of learning so they could treat you and teach you how to be a good employee at their factories. That's all this is about. So break free.
Rural versus urban, which and why?
So the rural is going to be better. You're going to, if you can afford land, of course, the more land you can afford, the better off that is. It's quieter. There's not as many people. So there's a lot of benefits to both. In an urban setting, you can actually do microgreens or grow veggies and then sell them real easy in your neighborhood because you have a lot of clientele. If we move out here, it's a lot harder to maybe make a business, if you will, out of your lifestyle. But you will provide for yourself way more than you probably could in your city with regulations and all the other stuff they have going on.
So how many years of homesteading conferences have you been doing since you started?
So Stacy and I started the Homesteading Life Conference 7 years ago. It was just a one-time-a-year event that we held in August up in Hannibal, Missouri. And now we're switching it to 3 times a year, and we're just going to do them right here in Vandalia. We're having a spring festival where we bring you guys out and talk about all the systems and everything going on. We're actually going to have one at the homestead where we're going to show you our systems, put your fingers on them, show you how they operate. That's going to be golden because the mind and the hand operate together. I don't know if you know this or not. That's another trick that the Rockefellers taught you. When someone stands in front of you and just speaks and tries to teach you, you do not absorb and learn as much as if we're sitting together and actually doing the thing that we're talking about or teaching. That is where you're really going to learn it. So that's what we're going to do out there in October, and then in August, and then we have an October one is just for the ladies. Stacy runs a women's retreat to get a handle on their health and nutrition and stuff like that.
I think you got a record turnout here this year.
This is our first turnout. It's our first spring event. We had 2,000 people plus their kids, and we look to keep it about 2,000 people every year.
Cool.
So the question was, what would we do different if we could rewind the clock 15 years ago and start over and say, hey, let's do it? Honestly, I probably wouldn't change anything because all the trials and tribulations that we did go through made us stronger, right? We have way more grit and resiliency now. And we've learned a lot, again, by the hand and the mind doing these things and working through them, right? So I probably wouldn't want to exchange any of those experiences because they made us the homesteaders that we are today. So a lot of people always try to look back. I encourage you to look forward because that's the only thing you really have something to manage. Nothing back there matters anymore. It's back there. And one of our most famous sayings that I came up with is the most capable hand is at the end of your wrist. No one is going to love you guys like you or your kids. Stop co-opting out your kids. Are you sending your kids to public school? Look at that trash, man. I know you guys have TVs. You don't even know me probably. Please, if you can, get your kids out of school. One of the biggest lies told is to send 2 parents to work, right? So your kids can be sold off to Rome and they can become Romans, right? And that's what they're doing. They're brainwashing your kids at these schools. They're indoctrination centers. And if you're saving up your money to send your kids to college, you really have to rethink that, okay? These are not the old days anymore. That stuff's gone, y'all.
So I'm here because of Curtis MacGyver Stone.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. Yeah, but I have to full disclose that, dude. Like, he's throwing money around everywhere, and that's no problem. Like, that's good stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Just share your websites real quick.
So if you want to learn more about us, you can go to offgridwithdougandstacy.com. We have a couple blogs there. All of our videos are there. Of course, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media. On X, it's at Doug and Stacy. And I will warn you, I'm pretty hardcore over there. But those are most of the social places. Our number one place is on YouTube for right now. So we did start a university for people that want to go to the next level of learning. It's university.offgridwithdougandstacy.com, where every Wednesday night, Stacy and I spend time with you guys, and we're answering your questions. We're talking about our systems. We also post videos on there. Some of them are the same as the YouTube, but a lot of them are going to be new going forward. And so that's going to be a good trove of information. I just want you guys to understand that YouTube, Facebook, they're all owned by the government, in case you didn't know. Okay, those people, Zuckerberg, and those are all frontmen. They're faces for you to look at. They own all those. That's why they went after TikTok, because they don't own that one. And the number one hashtag was Free Palestine. So they don't like that, messing up their narrative. But they own all those. So if we ever disappear, one day you might see people with good information just disappear. That's what I was getting at. So just get the information you can, find alternate places that they can't manage, monitor, constrict you on what you're trying to learn or what we're trying to teach.
Have a backup and let your screen time be nature time.
Always. I mean, man, no one even has depth of perception anymore because they're one-dimensional on the screens all the time. That's why they're having all these eye problems, and not to mention the Blu-ray and everything else being blasted at them. If you have LED lights in your house, please get them out. That's another scam. They told you to put them LED lights in your house. They told you to eat the food pyramid. They tell you everything to make you sickly.
It's all a bunch of
One piece of advice?
One piece of advice. One piece of advice to live by. Hey, one piece of advice to live by. Toughen up. Toughen up. If you're an American, especially, okay, you've been domesticized and neutered. Okay, I'm telling you right now, you guys are way too soft. Somebody just looks at you funny or says something wrong and you guys are off the chain over here. Just, toughen up. Because if this stuff really goes down, which, I'm a believer in that it is, you're not going to manage it well if you can't toughen up.
Well, thank you, Doug.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for waiting.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a really great time. Lori and I have had some time to process it, and it was just a really great experience. We really appreciate Doug and Stacy for putting it on. And who do you want to give a shout out to?
Mallory and her beautiful family from Barefoot Microgreens. Love Dr. Leo, Dr. Patrick Jones. It was so good to see everybody there. The little gals making coffee. That was awesome. The whole thing was awesome. I had a wonderful time. It was a lot of information, a lot of good stuff for people to learn no matter where they're at in this little homestead journey. A little or a lot. It was awesome.
Yeah. I have to say, too, I was really inspired to go to this on account of two people that I want to just give a shout out to myself, and that's Charles and Monica Stone from Nelly's Ford, Virginia. They do a small operation homestead with biodynamic and organic farming. Really great folks, and you can check them out on my Tech Talk podcast, and we are in Mosquitoville.
We are.
Even during the day, they're crazy this year.
With the cicada.
Yeah.
They're all
Everything's booming. We got
Yeah,
massive coronal mass ejections from the sun, and Walter Russell getting out there to the world. However it comes, I welcome it. But yeah, it was really cool to interview everybody and meet Doc Jones and Leo Sharashkin, the bee guy. I mean, he is awesome.
Yeah.
Just so many really great and inspiring people.
Yeah.
And one of the questions I asked to everybody was, what do you need to do just to get started? Just the very beginning of creating a homestead, a garden, any of that stuff. So this video was kind of put together to try to inspire people to get off the fence and get busy, because our own self-sustentation, is that a word?
It is now.
Okay, well, I invented a word, but to be self-sustaining, you have to get off the fence and you have to start doing, the things that help to sustain your life. And that is, the simple end of it. Get busy, guys. There's so much we can do. Even if you're an urban farmer and you've got a small backyard, you live in the middle of the city, if you've got an 8x8 square that you can access, check out Curtis MacGyver Stone and check out Doug and Stacy's work, because they're going to give you the tips and tricks.
Yep.
They've been through the trials and the errors, and you know, Curtis wrote a great book you can get. But all of the people that we've interviewed who have websites and were presenters, including the musician Jesse Vaughn, shout out to you. Your links are all below in this video, right underneath this video, so check that out.
All the vendors too that were there?
No, I didn't get all the vendors. There's just so much. There were so many people, but it was great. It was just a great experience, and Lori and I are doing our little bit here as well. We have, you know, everything from herbs. We walk through the herb row here, and you can see a lot of the different herbs. Tell them some of the herbs that you're growing, Lori.
We got lavender, we got St. John's wort, we got lemon balm, wormwood, thyme, sage, oregano,
stinging nettle.
Nettle, comfrey, lots of comfrey. So.
Rosemary.
Yeah, rosemary.
What else?
I don't know. Onions, got our onions over there.
Garlic.
Trying to do a lot of flowers for the bees this year, so this is a big flower year for the bees.
Yeah, and we built the apiary, and we're hoping to catch a swarm. If not, we'll be ready for next year, but it just is what it is. And so we're also growing melons, and we've got watermelon, 2 kinds. We've got cantaloupe, and then on our bigger garden, out in the front yard, we have several varieties of fruit trees. And what else are we growing? A host of peppers. I'm a pepper guy because I like to make hot sauce. It's called Maddie's Burn Your Ass Off sauce. So I may go commercial with that one day and start packaging it, but everybody I've made it for just raves about it. They're always like, include me on the next batch. So yeah, I love hot stuff, but we've got all kinds of peppers, everything from Tabasco peppers to cayenne to I believe we have Carolina Reaper and even Scorpion and Habanero. There's just lots of great stuff. So, and we're also doing cucumber, we're doing yellow squash, we're doing
kale
zucchini,
and cauliflower, but I think
kale,
it's too
cauliflower.
late for them.
We'll see. I mean, it's
and blueberries.
And blueberries. You know, we got all the above. You know, pretty much. And it's a small operation, but you know, we started, I guess,
it's getting bigger every year.
Back in 2008, I cut a 12 by 12 garden, which is where the apiary is now. And that was the beginning of it. And I think I grew maybe, you know, 10 pounds of food that year. And every year it's been successively more. And so it's, you know, every operation starts small. And hopefully, again, this video is just something to try to inspire you guys to get off the fence, get into action, and do something in the world of growing things, you know. And it's what a great thing it is too to work with the earth.
And we don't even have livestock. I mean, we had chickens for a little minute, but because we travel, you know, it's hard to keep livestock. But we have a Mennonite dairy down the road, so we get our milk and butter and eggs, and then I make yogurt and stuff from that, and so you don't have to do it all, you know. Whatever inspires you, whatever you're called to. Maybe you want chickens and goats and sheep and cows and milk your own cow. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to make stuff and grow stuff, and so it's like whatever you're called to, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel like homesteading means I have to do all the things. You don't have to do all the things. You just do what you like.
Yeah, it's pick and choose.
You bet.
Like you're at a buffet, only it's growing things and green things, and you know, you start with seed and you end up with the fruit in the fall.
bet.
You know, that's what the spring is for. Spring into action, folks.
Yes.
So again, thanks to
Yes,
Charles
it
and
was
Monica
awesome.
Stone. Check out earthwise.live, and hopefully Doug and Stacy, check them out, get them at a conference, because they'd be a great couple to do a presentation. They've got a
Yes.
lot of knowledge.
Yes.
All right. Well, I hope you guys find this video enjoyable, and please like and share, subscribe to my Rumble, and thanks for watching the Exploration of Consciousness podcast, and have a great day. Walter Russell mastered all the 5 fine arts with only a 4th grade education.
How come all the people with no education do shit?
Right.
It's